Whoa, and we're back. Talking about all kinds of Olympic stuff and everything. And when it come back to the Olympics, I want to share something really, really cool about the Olympics and again, South Florida, because that's where we are and that's what we represent. Even though we talk about all different kinds of stuff, but I do like to concentrate into South Florida. But moving on into what has happened in boxing in the last couple of days, I want to talk. Terence Crawford, and I want to talk Pitbull. First of all, Terence Crawford, I think he had a great outing. I think he had a great outing against Israel Madrivev, I think it is. I think he had a good outing considering the guy hasn't fought in almost 2 years. And even though the guy that he fought only has like 10 or 12 fights, he was accomplished. He was a world champion. The guy had an extensive amateur career. So it's not like just because he had 10 fights, he was a novice in there. He certainly knew what he was doing. And he got his own licks in there, and he proved himself to be a worthy opponent. I think that 2 years ago, it wouldn't have gone the distance. I think that 2 years ago, Terence Crawford would have been a little bit more sharp. But I think it was a great outing. I think it was a good way to come out and put his name back on the map and try to get those big matches, you know, against Canelo, against the big 154-pounders. But I was satisfied. I'm a huge Bud Crawford fan ever since he knocked out, what was that Cuban's name? It'll come to me. But I'm a huge Bud Crawford fan, and I want to see him continue. I want to see him against really, really great oppositions, and I hope that his best fight wasn't his last one. So, but Pitbull, okay? Pitbull, he lost his title against another fighter who just had 15 fights, Jose Valenzuela. Listen. There's levels to boxing. That's why they call this the sweet science, okay? Now, and as a matter of fact, not only am I a fan of Isaac, but I was rooting for him in this fight. I mean, I thought that really there was no reason for him to look the way that he did. But after looking at that fight, he came in with zero game plan. Zero game plan. If you notice, the only thing that, in my opinion, the only thing that he did well is that he kept his hands up. Oop, I just hit this. Are we okay there? Yep. Okay. Hey, Table 4, your pizza is now ready. There you go. The only thing that I like that he did very well is that he kept his hands way up. Of course, he was fighting a taller opponent. He was trying to avoid the jab, everything. And I like that defensive part of it. But his offense, like, bro, not one jab. I think I saw one jab being thrown, which he landed pretty well. But no jabs, no crosses, no uppercuts. Every single punch was a bolo punch. You're not going to win fights that way. You got a taller opponent. You've got a guy that's boxing. He boxed well. Now, of course, yes, they were all pity-pat. But he was scoring. He was scoring points and winning rounds. So, you know, Pitbull needed to come in and just, he needed to manhandle him. He needed to put his head in his chest. He needed to accept the 2 or 3 punches that it took to get on the inside and start working the inside the way that he needed to. But, man, he was completely outclassed. We got to give it up for Jose Valenzuela that in his 16th fight beat an incredible fighter and became a world champion. So we definitely got to give it up. But, man, you cannot go in there throwing bolo punches and expecting that you're going to win a fight because it just is not going to happen. He came in with zero game plan. That's what it looked like. And that was the result. You lose your title. Now he wants to fight him again. He wants to do. If I was Jose Valenzuela, I would not give Pitbull the rematch. I would go out there and make as much money as I possibly can taking those big-ass fights. Why would you risk that? Why would you risk going up against this guy again? What do you got to gain? Absolutely nothing. Valenzuela, go out there, get yourself some big ass name fights, make $1 trillion, and then, if you want, give him the rematch.
Hey,
but that's just my take.
No, that sounds good.
Moving on. A lot of talk about Dana White this past couple of weeks because, of course, he has the the UFC, president of the UFC, and all the shows, and he went to the Republican National Convention and we talked over there. All right, we got a fan. But the reason I'm bringing him up is Power Slap. Bro, have you guys seen that? Have you seen that? Now, there's one thing about standing there and getting slapped and then, because I've seen it in different arenas, different kind of sports. But the way that Power Slap is done, it's so organized that even for a guy like me who I'm not big into that sport, but I watch it because it has become so interesting. So Dana White puts together this thing called Power Slap, and he says it's going to be bigger than the UFC. Nothing like that is going to be bigger than the UFC. Okay?
Now wait a second. This is when two guys are facing off, and they slap each other.
Literally, you sit there and you wait for the guy to hammer you.
Wow.
Okay? With all his might. And that hurts. I mean, you
One
get
at a
knocked
time.
out. You get knocked out. But I wanted to talk about, there was a real famous clip that was showing up, and we're going to show you guys that clip now, of a girl. Her name is Sheena Bathroy. And she's a badass. She actually, if I'm not mistaken, she's actually training out of MMA Masters in Hialeah, Florida. Boy, Hialeah is in everything, isn't they, bro? Oof. So she actually trains out of. So her claim to fame is that she stood there at the podium. This girl smacked her with everything she had. She kind of just looked at her and blew her a kiss. And that thing went fucking viral. The fucking sport, everybody started looking at it. The clip, and she's kissing the girl and all that kind of stuff. She's kind of, she's a pretty girl. So it was pretty attractive and appealing. So then, there was some rematch, or there was another match that she had to go to, and there was a girl called Jennifer. I'll tell you right now, Jennifer Cataline. Okay, a former wrestler. Dude, we're gonna show you that clip also. She smacked that Sheena girl into next fucking week, bro. She fell so fucking hard. Like, I didn't think it was gonna happen. I did not think it was gonna happen. I didn't think anyone was gonna beat this girl that blew a kiss to somebody that she was slapping against. But she got knocked out so bad, like all over the place. And I just, listen, you guys are going to have to check out this sport. Now, I've seen a couple of the guys. There's a guy, Jelly Roll or Jelly Bean, not the singer. He comes out with a beard and whatnot. Been doing this for a long time. Oh, yeah, that guy will smack you into tomorrow. But I wanted to touch a little bit about Power Slap because, I just see it everywhere. It's all over Rumble. Dana White pushes it like there's no tomorrow. And it's just gaining traction. But I wanted to mention that about the girls because it's what really everybody was seeing. When this girl blew a kiss to the other girl, it's like, oh my God, look at that badass. And man, then she got smacked into tomorrow.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Is this sanctioned or,
Yeah, okay, I don't think it's legal in every state. And I think that the reason they got to put it on Rumble is because YouTube just won't put it, or maybe that's the best platform. But the way that they have it set up is, they grab a foam bar, they put it behind their back, behind their back, and they just wait to get slapped. And then if they can stand up and sustain themselves, then it's okay. If they fall, it's like boxing, you get a standing 8 count. And then if you can't get up, you're knocked out. If you do get up, you get a minute or two to recuperate, and then you go on and you smack the other girl or the other person. But let me tell you, it's gaining traction. It won't be bigger than the UFC, I guarantee you that. But even I had to mention it because when I saw what was going on, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So Power Slap, if you guys get a chance, go ahead and check it out because it's entertaining to say the least. I'm getting those fingers up again. 10, 9, 8, 7. We're going to cut for a commercial break. We will be right back. We've got a lot to talk about.